A very good evening, guys. After discussion of the syllabus in the previous class, today we get into the main SYJC ka syllabus. Those who are with me in SYJC, if you remember in the chapter final accounts, again and again I was repeating that this chapter is very important. You'll have to study throughout the 5 years of your college, and this same chapter with an advanced level will be repeated for SYJC. You remember, I'll mention this again and again at least 7 to 8 times. So now, as we discussed yesterday, the total chapters what you have in your syllabus is 10, of which 9 are practical. We start with the first chapter, that is Introduction to Partnership and Partnership Final Accounts. Now listen, this is split in two parts. Final Accounts is purely a practical chapter, and the first part, Introduction to Partnership, it's theory. In your syllabus, you are not going to get any theory question from this chapter, but remember, you will be having MCQs. As I discussed in the group and also in the previous video, that your accounts ka paper pattern officially is not yet out. Previous batch, that is the current batch who's yet to give the exams, for them they had 15 marks ka objective, and before that the normal trend was 20 marks ka objective. Remember, you all will be having 80 marks ka paper, 20 marks will be for assignment or project work, college will give you all, and the remaining 80 marks ka board exam ka paper. So you will be getting 15 marks to 20 marks ka objective. As I told you, that objective ka pattern as well as the paper pattern is yet to be decided, because they changed the syllabus last year. Then they were supposed to come out with this paper pattern. Lockdown came, so they kept it on hold. They gave a paper pattern which was specifically only for the previous batch. Your batch, again the lockdown has come, so they have kept it on hold. But minimum 15 marks ka objective you will be getting. Any form it can come. It can come answering one word, answering one sentence, true or false, match the column. Then there is one chapter called as Bills of Exchange. Usme there is 5 marks for pro forma. They can ask you in any combination. For that, we'll wait for the paper pattern for the exact objective pattern. But what I am going to discuss today is just theory part, and which is important only from objectives point of view. I'm not going to start any sum, because before that you need a basic information or introduction on what exactly is partnership. I gave you a brief in the first introduction to syllabus mentioning that out of 10, 5 chapters are connected with partnership. Today in this class we will see a bit in detail that what exactly is in partnership. So what I am going to do in this session, if possible I'll try to cover in one video only, otherwise I'll take one more. So we will see what is the base of partnership, how it goes about, and what all is included when a partnership firm is formed. Remember, 50% of your account syllabus is based on partnership accounts. Last year in SYJC, it was purely sole trader. What is sole trader? You all must have studied in OC. A single person doing the business, a single owner of the business is sole trader. And when I say partnership, partnership means there are more than one owner. There is not one owner, there will be minimum 2 persons who come together to do a business jointly, and they will share the profit loss amongst themselves in the agreed ratio or as per the provisions. What are the provisions? We will see now. So in short, partnership is nothing but minimum 2 people coming together and jointly doing the business. Say for example, there are 3 people who are coming together to form a business. Those 3 people are called as partners, and the business what they do it is called as a partnership firm or a firm. We call it only as firm or we also call it as partnership firm. That is the concept of partnership. Now, as I mentioned, this discussion I am doing purely from objective point of view. You will get around 2 to 3 marks for objectives what I am discussing today. In every chapter there is objective given. The book what I have given you, Reliable Problems, is the best book for Maharashtra board students for SYJC. Reason? Ample of sums for practice. Most of the sums we will be doing here. Plenty of objectives. Around 20 to 25 years ka past board papers, and the biggest plus point along with whatever I said, entire government book is there. Therefore, if you see, the book has become a bit fat because everything is included. Just do from this. There is no need to do anything extra. Of course, once we are done with everything, then if you want to voluntarily do something extra, do, no problem. But this is more than enough. Just listen to my lectures carefully, solve all the sums what I am doing it here, solve all the homework sums, solve all the tests properly, attend a revision, attend the prelim exam, as I mentioned the flow of the year, how we will go about. Do that properly. I can challenge you all, if you do what I say seriously, it's not at all difficult to get in 90s out of 100. Keep that in mind. Okay, right from day one, keep that in mind. And again, the same thing what I used to mention in SYJC, please practice right from day one. Now forget SYJC. As I mentioned in the earlier video, SYJC is over. Now we are in SYJC. SYJC is totally a different ball game. After SYJC, when you all take admission in degree college, there are various courses available, BMS, BCom, BAF, BMM, BFM. Every course has a high cutoff. So you have to score well. And accounts is the subject which is going to help you in getting better marks. So focus on this right from day one. Practice regularly. I'm sure your college will still take time to start. So we have started. So please take advantage of the time what you all are getting it. Okay, chalo. Now let's start with, as I told you, the name of the first chapter, Introduction to Partnership and Partnership Final Accounts. In this session, we will focus just on the first part, Introduction to Partnership. I gave you all the base. Now keep the textbooks in front of you. The first chapter, first page, that is page number 5 of the textbook. Introduction to Partnership and Partnership Final Accounts. See there. Meaning of partnership. What it says, I explain you, I gave you the brief, but let's see what they are mentioning. Partnership is a type of business organizations in which 2 or more persons come together for conducting lawful business. 2 or more. What I told you, minimum there has to be 2 persons. There is a maximum limit which will come further. Minimum 2 people have to be there, and then only you can call it as partnership, because if there is 1 person, then it is called as sole trader or sole proprietorship. For conducting lawful business, when I say lawful, matlab legal, that means the business what you are going to do should be legally accepted by the government. Let it be central or state. Central means applicable all over India, and state means the state in which you stay. We are staying in Mumbai. For us, the state is Maharashtra. So we have to do only those business under the banner of partnership firm which is legally accepted by the Maharashtra government. In short, you cannot do any business which involves gambling or betting and all that. It has to be business which is legally accepted by the government. This point will be repeated again. They contribute capital, manage the business, and share profits losses. Basic of business, basic of accounts. When you start business, we need money, and the money with which we start business is called as capital. Whether you are a sole trader, whether you are a partnership firm, whether you are a company, you need capital to start business. So capital is required. You have to manage the business. Just by starting the business, you can't say business start kar diya. Manage to karna padega na. So the partners, the owners who have started the business have to day manage the business, and whatever is the profit or loss, they have to share. How to share, we will see in some time. Now see, why share? Because what I told you, you need minimum 2 people for partnership firm. Last year का था SYJC में sole trader, one single person doing the business. So when one person is doing the business, whatever profits he earns, whatever loss he incurs, everything will be borne by him or shared. मतलब he will keep the profits, or if loss is there, he has to bear the entire losses. But यहाँ पे there will be minimum 2 people. Minimum 2, there can be more. So say for example, there are 3 people. So whatever profits you earn will be divided by 3. Whatever loss you incur will be borne by 3. If there are 5 partners, they will share the profits, or all 5 will bear the losses. If there are 8 partners, all of them will share the profits, or all of them will bear the losses in case there are losses. How they will share, which ratio, that we will see in some time. Okay? The liability of the partners is unlimited. Now there are 2 things: liability unlimited and limited. In case of a partnership firm, the liability of the partner is limited. When I say limited, matlab, it is limited to the extent of capital contributed by the partners. When I say limited liability, that means it is a liability which is restricted or limited to the extent of capital. Now say for example, a partner is there, Mr. A. He has contributed 5 lakh as his capital. So when it is limited liability, he is not supposed to get any other amount more than 5 lakhs. Suppose the business is going into losses, so he will give his 5 lakh capital, he did not bring extra. That is limited liability. But in partnership firm, when you open a partnership firm, the liability is unlimited. That means he has a capital of 5 lakhs. In absence, or if there is a shortage of funds or there is a loss, he has to forego that 5 lakhs. Plus, if required, he has to get extra money from his personal property also. Getting it? Limited में क्या होता है? He has given 5 lakhs का capital. That's it. He doesn't have to bear anything else. ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा उसका 5 लाख जाएगा. But if the liability is unlimited, he will have to give that 5 lakhs to the firm, as well as after contributing that 5 lakh, in case there is any shortage, he has to arrange from his personal assets. So that is the meaning of unlimited liability. He will have to contribute over and above his normal capital. Keep that in mind. Okay? Next, as I mentioned, the person joining such businesses individually are called as partners. People who are doing it are partners, and the banner in which they do the business, that is called as firm or a partnership firm. So the person who start the business, manage, are called as partners, and the business which they are doing, that is called as firm or a partnership firm. This was the basic meaning of partnership. Second part, definition. According to section 4, see, section is what you know. There's a law, there's an act. Every act has got parts. Say, how we do? We write say you all write answers. We divide into paragraphs. So वैसे section is nothing but one part of the law. In your syllabus, you all are not supposed to remember the section. But आगे देखो, of the Indian Partnership Act 1932. Underline this. Highlight करो properly. Very commonly asked question. Once in every 3-4 attempt they ask this. Indian Partnership Act was formed in which year? याद रखना, 1932. FIB, fill in the blanks. MCQs, true or false? Indian Partnership Act was formed in 1942. False. It was formed in 1932. Very commonly asked question. Mark that. Highlight it. Indian Partnership Act formed in the year 1932. it defines partnership as the relationship between partners who have agreed to share profits of the business carried on by all or any of them acting for all. It is the same. You have to share profits for the business which is carried by all of them or by someone who is acting on their behalf. You have to just understand the meaning of this. Now say for example, there are two partners, Mr. A and Mr. B. Mr. B doesn't stay in India. But what has happened? He has a relative in India, Mr. C. He tells C, you look after the business in my presence. So what C is doing? C is not the owner, but he is representing Mr. B. So in that case, he is acting on behalf of B. So in India, he will be treated as a partner. Not on records, but he is representing B. So he is acting on behalf of B. So C will also be a part of partnership firm. Maybe not as a partner, but as a representative of the partner. Got it? So that was definition. As I told you, the only important part from this second point is the year in which the Indian Partnership Act was formed, that is 1932. Next, partnership deed. Now listen, what do you mean by partnership deed? Again, very important, commonly asked question, answer in one sentence. What is partnership deed? Partnership deed is nothing but it is an agreement between the partners. See, now when you start a business, you just can't start the business like that, na? There has to be some understanding. First the people have to decide who all are starting the business, kaise karenge, what type of business, how we will share the profits, losses, where we will take the place. So there are many things which are to be considered before you start the business. So what happens? First you decide everything. कौन सा business start करना है, how many partners, who will get how much capital, how do we share profits, losses, this department, who will look after purchasing goods, who will look after selling, who will look after accounts. Every factor has to be mutually decided amongst the partners. So that whatever they decide, that is called as a mutual understanding, which has to be presented in a legal form, that is called as partnership deed. So partnership deed is nothing but it is an agreement between the partners which shows what is the mutual understanding amongst all of them. Which shows what is the mutual understanding. What all they have decided, as I mentioned, कौन सा business करना है, how many partners, who will bring how much capital, who will share profits and losses, how they will share the profits and losses, who will look after which department, etc., etc. Now the partnership deed either can be written or oral. Partnership deed either can be written or oral. Oral मतलब मुंह से बोल दिया, okay, this is that, this is that. But remember one thing, oral is just oral. It is not in writing. You just say something that cannot be accepted by the court. So what happens? आगे जाके if there is any dispute amongst the partners or say partners with the outside parties, you can't just go to the court and say उसने ऐसा बोला था, इसने ऐसा बोला था, court से बोला था वो बोला था. We cannot believe anything which is just said orally amongst yourself. So what people do? People avoid making an oral agreement. They make the agreement in writing. Because what happens? If everything is written in a legal form and all partners have signed, tomorrow if there is any dispute, it is a good evidence to be put in front of the court and matters can be decided legally. So agreement or the deed can be written or oral, but it is always preferable, and 99% of the partnership firm make that agreement in writing. that agreement is called as partnership deed. See, same thing what I mentioned. It is an agreement. What is that? See, let's read again. A partnership deed is an agreement between the partners containing the terms and conditions for smooth working of partnership. As I mentioned starting में जो बोला, it may be oral or written. Written agreement signed by all the partners is always desirable to avoid dispute. So if you want to avoid dispute, see to it that the agreement is written. It contains information such as name of firm, name of partners, capital contribution, profit sharing ratio, rights and duties of partners, etc. as given by the partnership. That means what? What is the name what you have decided? Who all are the partners? Suppose there are 5 partners. Full details, name and addresses of all the partners. Capital contribution, as I mentioned, who will contribute how much. Profit sharing ratio. Profit sharing ratio is the ratio in which profits or losses are divided. Say for example, there are 3 partners, A, B, C. They have to decide in the starting what will be the profit sharing ratio. If they say equal, okay, whatever is the profit, divide equally between all 3. What is the loss? Divide the loss between the 3 partners. Or they decide the ratio. They say 3:1. So the profit or losses will be divided in the ratio of 3:1. How to divide? That when we come to the sum, that time we will see. They say divide the ratio 5:3:2. So the ratio is 5:3:2. So whatever is the profits loss, divide in the ratio of 5:3:2. Now remember, very important point. आगे जा क्या आएगा? But I'll explain now only. If the ratio is not decided by the partners, if the ratio is not mutually decided by the partners, then in that case the ratio is assumed to be equal. If the partners do not decide the ratio in advance, then the ratio will be assumed to be equal. Okay? And then rights and duties of the partners, etc. as given in the partnership. Rights and duties matlab what partner will have what right. Duties, what is the duty assigned? As I told you, suppose A, B, C are there. A has been told, okay, you look after production. So he will look after only production and purchase of goods. B ko bola, you look after marketing. So he will look after only marketing. C ko bola, you look after accounts and finance. So whatever is assigned to you, according to that, you play your role. That is the meaning of this part. Got it? Again, I'm repeating. You don't have to by heart this. This is just for basic understanding, and focus has to be by reading this, you can attempt objectives. Now let's come to the main part. 4th, features. Now when I come to features now, whatever I discuss in the starting now, almost every point is covered in features. Let's see one by one. First, agreement. No need to read in detail. मैं तुमको explain करते जाऊँगा. We decided agreement has to be in the form of deed. That can be either written or oral. As I told you, written is always preferable because oral में there is no evidence in court of law. So in case there is any dispute, it is always advisable to have a written agreement so that tomorrow in future there is no dispute, and if the matter goes in the court, it can be legally handled in a proper way because everything is in writing. So agreement can be written or oral, but preferably it should be written so that it can be served as a proof in the court of law. Now listen, number of partners. As I told you, minimum you need 2 persons, because agar ek hai, so that is not a partnership firm, that is a sole trader. So minimum 2 partners. Maximum, earlier the limit was different, now it has changed. You can have 50, 50. So minimum, very important for objective. For a partnership firm, minimum number of persons to be partners is 2, and maximum 50, 50. Minimum 2 partners, maximum 50. Important for objective. Next, lawful business. As I mentioned, lawful business means legal. If you are forming a partnership firm, you can do only that business which is legally or accepted by the law of the respective state or country. Generally it is state only, because Partnership Act is applicable all over India. But then businesses, you have to see what your state accepts. If your state doesn't accept it as a legal business, you can't do. Like gambling, betting, all these are not legally accepted in all our states in the entire country. So you can do a business in the name of partnership firm, only those business which are legally accepted by the law. Next, sharing of profit loss. As I mentioned in the starting, partners have to mutually decide the profit sharing ratio among themselves. As I gave you example, there are 3 partners, ratio 3:1, 5:2, 2:1, anything you decide amongst the partners. But if the ratio is not decided by the partners, if the ratio is not decided by the partners, it is to be treated as equal. So in absence of information, the partners will share the profits loss in equal ratio. Keep that in mind. This is important not only from objective but also in sums, because when we do the sums, if the profit sharing ratio is not given, it will be divided equally amongst the partners. Next, unlimited liability. As I mentioned, under the Partnership Act, the liability of the partners is unlimited. I told you in the starting, limited may the capital contribution only has to be to the extent of partners' capital. Unlimited may they will have to bring capital over and above what they have originally invested in the business. For partnership firm, the liability of partners is always unlimited. That means, same example, Mr. A is a partner, he has a capital of 5 lakhs, the firm goes into losses, so he has to contribute not only that 5 lakhs, but if required, he will have to arrange for excess money from his personal property. That's why it is called as partnership is having an unlimited liability. Joint ownership. Next point, when I say joint ownership, that means whatever are the assets or the property used by the partnership firm, it is owned by all the partners. If there are 4 partners, all of them are equal owners of the property. If there are 2 partners, both of them are equal owners of the property. Remember, asset utilization has got nothing to do with your profit sharing ratio. Your profit sharing ratio can be anything, but when it comes to assets, assets are jointly owned by the number of partners who are registered by the firm. 4 hai to it's equally owned by 4, 3 hai to equally owned by 3, 2 hai to equally owned by both of them. Joint management. All of them have to manage it jointly. Whatever are your responsibilities have to be taken by all of them. You just can't say, "Arey, ye mera fault nahi tha, ye uski wajah se hua." No. Everybody has to manage the business jointly. Of course, you can give power to a partner, okay, by do one thing, this department you take care of. But if there's a problem there, you cannot run away from the responsibility. It has to be blamed to all of them. You just can't blame one person. Say for example, Mr. A, there are 3 partners, A, B, C. Mr. A is told you do this. Mr. A goes to do that. He suffers a loss of 1 lakh. So Mr. B and C can't say, "Arey, teri wajah se 1 lakh ka loss hua." No. Even though it is a mistake of A, but B and C also are jointly responsible for them. So when I say joint management, managing has to be jointly, and you just cannot put blame on some other partners. Everybody is jointly responsible for that. Next, principal and agent. When it comes to partnership firm, there is a relationship of principal and agent. Now see here, now, partner plays a role of principal as well as agent. Now when you're doing business, you deal with your own owners, that is partners, as well as you have to deal with outsiders. No? because when you do business, you have to buy goods from outside, you have sell goods to customers. So there are outside parties and inside parties. Inside parties means your owner and your staff, and outside parties means debtors, creditors from whom you buy and sell goods. So partner plays a double role or dual role of principal and agent. He becomes principal for outsiders. See, it's written there. Each partner works in two capacities, principal and agent. A partner acts as a principal for outsiders. For outsider, he is the principal. Why? Because it is his business. He is the owner. So outsider ke liye he is the principal. But when it comes to partners within themselves, all of them are equal, so they become the agent. So a partner plays a double role or a dual role for principal and agent. Outsiders ke liye he becomes the principal because he is the owner, and within the partners, all of them are owners, so they become agent for each of them. So remember this dual double role of principal and agent. Dissolution. Aage jaake you have a separate chapter called as dissolution of firm. Dissolution of firm is nothing but winding up or closing down the partnership firm. You are doing a partnership business. You decide, अरे अभी मजा नहीं आ रहा है, business is going into losses, or there's a dispute amongst the partners, any reason. If the partners decide it's okay, it's enough for us, let's shut down the business, then that is called as closing the business, which is nothing but dissolution. So dissolution is nothing but closing the business. अभी देखो क्या बोला? A partnership firm can be dissolved between agreement amongst the partners. As I told you, if the partners decide they don't want to do the business, stop the business. Now, if a partner wants, he can dissolve the firm by giving 14 days notice to the firm. One partner says, I'm not able to do the business. Others say, chalo forget it yaar, हमको भी continue नहीं करना है. So just 14 days का notice is given, the firm can be dissolved. 3 partners are there. If 2 don't want to continue, both of them can give a notice of 14 days. Ke bhai, okay, it's enough. We are giving you 14 days notice. We are with the firm for the next 14 days. After that, we don't intend. So close the firm. Because see, if there are 3 partners and 2 give notice, so 2 are out, bacha 1. So agar 1 hai, so it is no longer a partnership firm. So automatically firm gets dissolved. So if any partners intend not to continue the business, they are supposed to give 14 days notice. Then in that case, after the notice, the court can give the order of dissolution. The last feature, registration. Now see, as per the Indian Partnership Act, again 1932, registration is not compulsory. You may register your firm, you may not. Now listen, aage ka point. You all are students of Maharashtra board. We are staying in Mumbai state of Maharashtra. In the state of Maharashtra, registration is compulsory. Every state has their own rules, but for us, because we are in Maharashtra and you all are students of Mumbai, you all are students of Maharashtra board, you should know that from Maharashtra point of view, registration is compulsory. It's given the second point. As first part, as per the Indian Partnership Act 1932, yaad rakhna. Registration of partnership firm is voluntary, that is, it is not compulsory. But registration of partnership is compulsory in the state of Maharashtra from 1st April 2005. 2005 ke pehle registration was not compulsory, but from 1st April 5, registration is compulsory. So these were the main points, that is features. Now just give me 2, I just check what is the duration, then decide. Yeah. Okay guys, the video has become too much. So I'm just pausing this video and I'm taking the next part in the next video. We are finishing this today only. I'm taking the next class in the next video.